everybody to Orchid Newland Studio. And today, March 12 is another beautiful day in Saigon, Vietnam. It's very nice and bright today, and we are pleased to offer you the third talk show with Dr. Mason Cobb. And thank you so much, Dr. Mason Cobb, who come to our talk show every week to share, very useful information with our audience. And as you all know, Dr. Mason is the founder of Victoria Healthcare. We all know that's the first international clinic in Ho Chi Minh City. And now he moved from Victor. He began new venture in longevity and medical 3.0. And then he also had many new plans for regenetics clinic and Golden Sunrise Senior Living Facilities. And during this talk show and the following talk show, we will touch on all these in more detail. But please give me a big applause to Dr. Mason Cobb. And also Jonathan, the business development, who will with us in today's talk show.
Thank you for introducing me. Thank you.
And today's talk show is about chronological versus biologic aging. So before we dig into the topic today, this talk show series is about longevity. So can you please explain to all of us, because some of the audience is very new, they wonder what is really longevity. Can you share with us something what that really means?
Sure. Longevity is simply living a long life, but the way that it works, some people look at their calendar age. The calendar is just a thing that sits on the wall, or it has a bunch of numbers on your cell phone. Your real age is your biologic age. That is, what is the age of your body and your mind. And having a healthy mind and healthy body well into old age is really what longevity is about.
So thank you, Dr. Mason. You guys know, so just like your car, it's not a matter of how many years your car has been used. It's a matter of how well do you maintain the car. So the biological age is exactly like that, Dr. Mason. Like somebody, they are in their 50s, but they may feel that they are just in their 30s, thanks to their very good lifestyle. Anybody in the audience, you feeling that you are younger than your calendar age? You can raise your hand. Oh, that's a great example. So, thank you.
Yet, by the way. Almost.
Oh, okay.
Forever 21.
So these people like Mark, I believe that he has a very good lifestyle. So could you share some advice that just like our body, just like a car, how can we maintain ourselves to keep our biological age much younger than the calendar age?
Well, first, very much like a car, there are component parts. There are rings, pistons, crankshafts, etc., axles. And we used to think of age, almost like calendar age, as just something that happens to you. And like other things that we've found in medicine, for example, if you have a strep throat, they don't say, oh, you got a sore throat, I hope it doesn't make you any sicker. We instead say, that is a strep throat, and here is some Augmentin or something similar to cure it. Well, now we can look at age as something that is happening physiologically. First, our DNA, which is what programs our entire bodies, does degenerate. It also undergoes what's called epigenetic change, meaning that some parts shut down and other parts that maybe we don't want so much open up and thus program our cells. What that leads to then is that first, we don't make as many stem cells, which create all the cells in our body. It also means that we don't use nutrients as efficiently as we did. And it also means that our mitochondria, which are the battery packs of all our cells, basically lose some of their charge, like our cell phones when they're starting to go dead. And then this results in fatigue, in our bones weakening, in our muscles shrinking. And like other biologic processes, it doesn't have to happen, at least not as fast. So what we talk about is that when we're born, we're not especially healthy. But then through childhood and young adulthood, we're hitting our peak. And then we have two bumps. One, it's somewhere around 40, mid-40s, another 60 or mid-60s, where our health, energy, and the processes I talked about really start to kick in. And then beyond 60, then just by nature, this will go down until pretty soon our lives are not sustainable. However, if we live a very healthy lifestyle, and in some cases biohacks, we can hit that bump, but then level off. Instead of going down, we can level off. And this is what we call our health span. That is, with proper lifestyle and sometimes some help from biopharmaceuticals, it is possible to stay very healthy, vibrant, vigorous, sharp minds well into old age. So your old age doesn't have to be a time of deterioration, but it can be a time of living and living well and enjoying the life as you've enjoyed it previously.
I have one question, Dr. Mason. When you talk about calendar age versus biological age, I know these days some companies start to sell some kind of the machine, the measure, or like some of the scale, right? And you sit in there, or they scan your body and they tell, okay, your real age 50, but you actually 40, or you actually 35, or they measure all your water level, BMI, right? Can you explain about that? That's a bit tricky question, actually.
Well.
But I really don't understand, like, how do they can just measure something or by touch or by your weight, and they can decide, how your biological age really are?
Well,
What decide
as
that?
you know yourself from your background, is that we get fixed on numbers. Again, like our calendar age. I am 60, I'm 79. And likewise, we get fixed on, well, what is my biologic age? I'm 79, but am I really 60? Or I'm 60, but am I really 49? We like the numbers, and like anything in a market economy, there's always somebody that's going to give you what you want. And unfortunately, all of these measures are incomplete. For example, if I do a small blood or saliva test in the morning, and then I do it in the late afternoon, it can vary my biologic age by as much as 5 years. And I may get this test and it says I'm 49. I get this test and it says I'm 83.
I got that.
Yeah.
I got that. Some scale tell me that I'm 40 some scale tell me I'm only 30.
And
different in scale. Yeah.
right. There's a test which is available commercially in Vietnam that I took, and on the same blood sample, it changed by 13 years.
Wow.
On the same blood sample over the course of 6 months. And so this becomes one of the problems, is the database. We're continually accumulating database. We're continually accumulating. And this becomes one of the problems with AI, and frankly, AI generally. And that's it. It depends on the database. Well, right now in healthcare, in medicine, in all the medical sciences, the pace of change is like this. So 2 weeks from now, maybe the test will look different because of the data set. And so the fact is, you can't get one particular test that is going to be entirely accurate.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's good to aware of that.
So
You should be aware of that, but it doesn't mean that your biologic age is the same as your calendar age.
I got it, Dr. Mason. So as Dr. Mason shared about the AI measure, so there's a little bit inaccurate on that. So I think the best way is to listen to your body. Just like the car, whenever it has some problem, like oil need to be changed, it has a signal to send us. But for our body, so is there any typical signal that show, hey, you are at the tipping point? At this point, that you're 40 or 60, your health is dramatically declined. Is there any signal that we can listen to your body? And you know that Dr. Mason is 80 years old now, and he's our chairman at Golden Sunrise.
79, don't...
79, sorry, 79 years old. In Vietnam, we tend to. Where's your 9 months in your mother's?
Yeah, that's right. I guess
they count the year
yeah.
when you in your mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the
Anyways,
entire
Some of 1
spectrum,
year.
okay,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
80.
79 years old, but he's still in a very good shape, and he's working relentlessly. What is the typical day of a chairman to maintain such a very good lifestyle? Can you share? And what are the signals that you can experience to listen your body, and you know that at that point you need to notice and change in order to make the better life?
There are again, many of our biologic measures change as we get old naturally. And you may notice that you're eating the same thing you always ate, you have the same activity level, and all of a sudden you can't get your pants on anymore because you've got a little too much belly. And another is you just don't have the energy. Like it used to be, you could walk twice around the block, and now you find that it's really kind of, and you just sort of generally run down a little bit. The other is, and I can't emphasize this enough, is who you hang around with. Are you an older person who's getting lonely in life? And then from there, you get into, frankly, negative self-talk. And from the negative self-talk comes depression, and that becomes a vicious spiral downwards. So it's hard to say on a vicious cycle like that where you intervene, but part of it is being with people who are like you, who are more positive. That will bring out the positivity in you. And also, if I could recommend one single thing besides a great community of friends and good relationships, it would be move. Go outside and walk. Even if, well, for instance, right now, I don't have the best set of knees in the world, but you still get out and walk, and that's walk outside. That does wonders for you, even if you don't feel like it.
Yeah, so Dr. Mason, I think, just mentioned a few strategies, right, to reverse biological aging. So in terms of the future, I know that you are like a pioneer in bringing new things to Vietnam, and I know that you started to have some plan of helping, right, elderly people as now as you also get older. So what is some of your future plan that you want to introduce or bring to Vietnam that can help, help to bring more, awareness, or, help out people that like you, right, living a healthier life in Vietnam?
Yeah. I think it's a two-pronged approach to me. One is that it's never too early to start on a healthy lifestyle. In fact, I have a friend that I even work with who's a chiropractor who finds his mission to bring children to a healthier way of life. Now, it turns out that as Vietnam has globalized its brought many, many good effects. It's also brought bad effects, and I must say that's American food and American junk food. And for example, our kids and now young adults drink tons of soft drinks, of Coke, which is pure sugar. And even when you're young, pure sugar is not the best thing for you. Better you should eat vegetables, juices, selected proteins. So your diet is a part of what you do at any age. And so we want to bring the spectrum of a healthy lifestyle, activity, again, strong community and relationships, good mental health, and managing stress, sleep, and on and on with that. I would emphasize that. The other is that, as we mentioned, the technology is going forward. It's going forward so fast that there are many new elements of so-called biopharmaceuticals. That is, parts of our own body, stem cells, peptides, exosomes, etc., BPLs, etc., that are biohacks. And there are places where they can be helpful. There are certain types of stem cells that may be more helpful than others, depending on what they're used for. But the information right now is incomplete, and yet every week, literally, there's something new that we can use. Some of these will be very useful to us. They will, if we already have the healthy lifestyle, but we need a boost for this or a boost for that, these are available. But which ones, which forms, is still an open question.
Dr. Mason, I think that walking from your sharing and taking some biopharmaceutical is really a good way to hack your biological age. So for me personally, I feel that I just embark on a journey with a new team that running 5 kilometers every day, and it requires to become an early bird, and you know that just giving myself a time to relax, unwind from telephone and mails and messages, and talking to myself, and also enjoying the vibrant atmosphere and fresh atmosphere in the morning is something that really make my day more meaningful. And I feel that I have more energy. That is one way, typical way. About lifestyle, and I would advise everyone to, at least you can walk or you can run. That's a true energy booster for any type or any age or any gender, it doesn't matter. For biopharmaceutical, I believe that there's a very much curiosity out there. A lot of people, they want to take but you said that there's an open question which is unclear on the side effect and the effectiveness of that. What is your advice if we could take only one booster or hack your biological age? What is your one and only advice? What type of biopharmaceutical that can be applied for the general and the major spectrum of people?
Oh, I went to actually an international meeting in Bangkok on longevity, and there were maybe 20 speakers. Each speaker had a different go-to if you could only do one, dot, 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 dot.
One, huh?
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's highly individual. For example, I'm a white guy, and that's because 24,000 years ago, my ancestors were running around in Europe during the Ice Age and trying to, through their parkas, get all the sunshine they could so they could build strong bones by absorbing the vitamin D. So I don't actually have to take vitamin D. I'm a white guy, there's a lot of sun here. But Vietnamese, especially by culture, the women do not like sunshine. And you see that, the long gloves, the hats,
Sure.
the
That's
glasses,
exactly true.
the masks. But that also means they're not getting vitamin D. They also may not be getting enough calcium. So if I were a middle-aged or older Vietnamese woman, I would definitely be taking vitamin D and calcium supplements. And if you, one of the terrible things, one of the 3 factors, as a matter of fact, that lead to rapid aging is air pollution. And as you know, that's a subject that's come to the forefront here. And also Hanoi. Hanoi has been dubbed the most polluted city in the world. And
Yeah.
Vietnam,
Really?
overall, our cities anyway, is now dubbed among the top 10 most polluted countries out of over 200. And this is very bad for your health. It not only brings in particles, but it can bring in all kinds of heavy metals, all kinds of metals. So the Regenetics clinic that John mentioned, for example, can do a scan and can also do testing for metals in your body. Again, I can't clean up the air, and I can't tell you to run around with a gas mask every day, but you can check for pollutants that have entered your body, and there are ways of cleaning those out, of detox, basically.
So basically what you say is that there's some machine nowadays that can scan your body and tell that, about those like signals that you got
Yes.
this and that in your body. And there's also ways to fix that by some routine, or is that what you say with some of the facility that are open in Vietnam?
Yes, it's a so-called chelation therapy. That is, you are given substances that help to bind those things, those metals in your body, and then excrete them. And so that's worth checking out.
I see. So there's some early, like you mentioned these, so these are some early detection. So to protect yourself from getting worse, just like doing a mammogram to check if you have breast cancer,
Yes.
to treat it before it gets worse, right? So these are some of the technology that are in place that help to you scan for different other issue.
Oh, yes.
Than the big issue. That
Oh, yeah. And there are a lot of blood tests that are available now, so-called biometrics, and that can be very helpful. For example, you may want to actually see how much omega-3 you have in your body, which is an anti-inflammatory. If you look at the process, we talked about the biology a little earlier, but two of the things that happen are that you get more and more inflammation as you grow older because your cells don't clean themselves out as much as they did before. And from this inflammation come a lot of the bad parts of old age. You don't heal as fast. You get more infections. Like the Pope had a terrible time with pneumonia that just started as a cough. And again, his physiologically, he's running down. And so things you can do to reverse the inflammation are good. And you mentioned one of the things that might be useful if you feel like inflammation is leading to more fatigue and so forth would be curcumin.
So how long we are in that process? Because I know that there's some thing to kind of help you, like John say, something to kind of
Yeah. So it's
inject to your
energy
body.
booster and
Yeah.
some biopharmaceuticals in the market that available to
Stem cells, stuff like
enhance your longevity.
Yeah. But how can I mean, I'm worried about like side effects. So I know that it's it has been there for a while, and actually it's very expensive. It has been used by a lot of rich people, right, overseas. It costs sometimes, it cost like 15,000-20,000 for one of that, and it's supposedly to make you live longer and healthier. But I mean, are they still in the early process that use human to kind of testing, or is it already like far along? It has been tested, and it for sure will help me to live like those, because I know that these are very expensive, right? They collect the cell of the mummy that just had birth or something, and take some of
they'll take
thing,
the
right?
placenta and
Placenta,
the
yeah, that's
umbilical
right.
cord.
And
And these are so-called totipotent.
Yes,
That
yes.
is, those stem cells can become anything they want to be, a blood cell, a liver cell,
Yeah.
whatever. And those are probably the best. But I think that stem cells are both underutilized and overutilized. For instance, standard medical practice, the orthopedists use some stem cells for different bone and joint problems, which may or may not work. And then they're also overutilized in that there are some clinics, not Regenetics, but some clinics that want to be regenerative medicine clinics that give stem cells just because you walk through the door and because they're very profitable.
Yeah, yeah.
Which stem cells work for which conditions,
Yeah.
and also here, the source of stem cells. For example, flying under the radar a little bit, I can take a jug of salt water and add a little food coloring to it and sell it to you as stem cells.
I know. Who knows, right?
And so you may not know. So
Yes.
you need to know the source
Who's
of
the
stem
provider?
cells,
Yep.
and your provider should also
Yes.
be able to explain to you very well about the stem cells that he or she may propose giving you.
Yeah. So I know that in overseas they sell those like injection, very expensive, like 10,000-15,000. I heard in Vietnam they started to buy those technology. They import it in, and because of the less expensive in everything in Vietnam, right? So they giving that to people for 1/3 of the price, right? So how reliable that is, or is there any provider that is very famous in that area that we can kind of be more comfortable that, okay, I'm paying $5,000, I really get that, instead of like the salt and pepper water, like what you say. Is there any brand name kind of company that provide that thing?
Well, there are good companies, but just like you can go to the local pharmacy and buy a brand name drug, for example, Nexium. But you don't know if somewhere along the way somebody figured out how to do that packaging and then put a sugar pill in there. And it's the same with stem cells. They can say, oh, these are from the Block Clinic in Munich, which are really top of the line, but are they really from there? I think the best is to select the clinic. And I hate to turn this into some kind of infomercial, but I would say that that Regenetics is a reputable clinic, and if stem cells are recommended, which again are not for everybody, then those will be the real deal and the real thing that you need.
So I know Dr. Mason mentioned a lot about these new regenerative medicines. So have you ever taken specifically any biopharmaceutically, and truly, what is the real experience? Did it make you really feel younger? How do you monitor that? And so, for example, like for me, that if I want to take that, what is the sign that tell? Should I continue taking it because it's effective to me, or should I stop using it because it doesn't make any sense for my body? So what is the experience on that?
Well, the problem that we all have, just the nature of being people, is that we do a lot of things at once. like maybe you go out and exercise, and so now you feel good, and then somebody gives you stem cells, and then you really feel good. Well, it was the stem cells, or it's because you're now living healthier. And frankly, my own personal experience has been like that. I have a degenerative eye disease called age-related macular degeneration, where the part of my eye that really focuses carefully is deteriorating, and it's a natural process. And I have to say, I had 3 different types of stem cells from 3 different clinics in 3 different ways, and I don't know if it worked. It didn't reverse it, but it's also going very slowly. Would it have gone faster without this stem cell, and or this stem cell? And again, as humans, we don't know. And that's the problem, is that you may have recommended for you very expensive stem cells, but because there's a commercial interest and the science is not totally clear. On the other hand, I've had, as I mentioned, I've had trouble with my knees. And I tore my meniscus about as badly as it could be torn in my right knee. I got platelet-rich plasma, 1 or 2 doses. The knee was basically cured. Wow. And then my other knee, a lot of things, nothing helped. So it's still inexact science. I'll say this, and that it's also part of the mindset that we have. And that's, there is the placebo effect. For instance, the Nexium that's really a sugar pill, you take it and you say, hey, I feel better, because you're supposed to feel better. And that becomes part of the formula too, is the placebo effect for anything that you do. And this is especially true of the biopharmaceuticals, is that you can get, even the bottle of colored salt water that I was mentioning, and you think you're supposed to feel better, and so you feel like you feel better. And but what you need to do is, again, to go to a reputable regeneration clinic, which will also measure your results. For example, NAD+, which is part of the chain of recharging your mitochondria and reversing some of the epigenetic change. It's very powerful, very potent, and very good, and this has been proven. But if you're already active, living a good lifestyle, it doesn't add anything. So it's looking first at what is your status right now, and will you benefit from NAD+, or will you not? And then after you've had it, measuring it.
Yeah. So I know that next week, Miss Queen, who is the head of Regenerative, will be here. I think she can, we can dig out now more and let her to kind of share more on all the different technique, all the different scanning technology, all the different offer, because I know that she lives in I think Dubai right now, and all the rich people there, and they all use stem cells, and they spend $10,000-$20,000 to inject those because they think that is really good. And she opened the clinic here, import this in, and hope to introduce to the Asian community for more less expensive. And also invite these rich people from all over the world to come here to use the same stem cell for 1/3 of the price, right? I think that she can share more, but let's divert our talk a little bit on the last, before we end today, is about, I would like to hear from you a little bit more on, I think that we bring new technology, we bring different ways to help people to help you to prolong your longevity by different techniques, right? Either by scanning or to know what you need to take, what is the correct supplement to take, as well as some of the magic, like thing that to proven to help your body, because it comes from all the good part of your body, right? And they inject to you to help you, healthier, living longer. But then I think I want to hear a little bit more on the other area that you focus other than that. That is, you want to, as you get old, you want to start on building or getting more awareness of the senior care, to Vietnamese people, which is very new to our society, because people, like to live with each other, although the young people is busy, but they still keep their parents in the house, and they're busy working all day, and their parents stay home, without any, the people come and take care daily, but they don't get the thing like you say, the bonding, things that help them to be more happy, right? So can you share a little bit on that, that future plan that you have?
I cannot think of a country that is changing, globalizing more rapidly than Vietnam. And parts of the culture that have existed literally for thousands of years are now breaking apart. For example, unswervingly following what your parents tell you. It's, well, I went to school and that's not what they taught me in school. But who would have said that 2 generations ago? And so what we're seeing is that first, Vietnamese couples, Vietnamese women, are not having enough babies anymore to even replace the current population. So a family that maybe a generation ago would have had 4 children and had 3 generations living in the same house, that the senior member, the older person, the grandmother, always has kids around, always has somebody around. Well, now you're down to the, as we say in America, the nuclear family. There's mom and dad, and maybe not even a kid or 1 kid. That kid is in nursery school. 86% of the women in Vietnam work. And so dad and mom work. Grandma has already, her work, this society has said, you're 65, get out of here. You can't work anymore. For instance, I like to donate blood. Well, I walked in one day to donate blood and they said, no, you're over 65. Like suddenly I'm contaminated or something. And so all of this leads to depression and a feeling of uselessness. And the question is, keeping the senior person in this new type of thing, is that the best thing for them? And I would say each family has to determine that, but to have that senior go to a daycare, a community where they can be with other people, they can find purpose just in being with others, and also maybe doing some gardening at the center, maybe doing some craft at the center, singing karaoke, doing yoga, so many things that they can do with other seniors that is so important. And then beyond that, there's also the senior living, that you can go, again, the stereotype here is that it's a nursing home. That is, when you can't even get up out of bed or out of a chair anymore, you go to the nursing home because the maid who comes in during the day and is your only companion can no longer take care of you. That is not senior living as it is now. Senior living is you have your own beautiful, clean apartment. You have that totally taken care of by people. You then also have a community center where you may have lunch, dinner, a gym, tours that you can go on. And at the same time, the door is always open to your family. You can have your family in your apartment. You can have your family at the community center. You can go out with your family. And at the same time, what we want to do is to integrate both the regenerative medicine, that is, what is the most healthy lifestyle that you can live with the senior living. And I think that for each family, you need to think, are you doing the very best for the older member of your family? And that person needs to think, am I happier here all day long, or am I happier being active and associating with so many other people?
Yeah, just to add on, Dr. Mason, on the senior living. So at Golden Sunrise Senior Living, so unlike your imagination about senior living facility commonly established in Vietnam, where somebody just cannot get up from the bed and they get existent all throughout the day. So at Golden Sunrise, there are tremendous amount of activities which are very interesting, and clubs, and yet you know that something we care about your passion, we care about your interest, where we can promote it. And you know that somebody, they just had a desire, they had an aspiration while they were young, but because of some financial constraints or some difficult condition, they just hadn't got a chance to really make their dream come true. But this Golden Sunrise Senior Living is really the place where we can nurture your dreams, your passion, not only grow it, but also make it your dreams come true.
Is it already open, John?
No, we're not. We're
no,
not.
This is the
open yet.
future plan that
But we're planning, and we know exactly what it's going to be looking
Okay,
like.
awesome. I think that's very good that you know Dr. Mason start to introduce those new things to the community, because you know a lot of these new things are still very new with people. So people you know need to be more aware right now, right? To change, and then you know to adapt to that new thinking that you know you don't need to stay home, you don't need to be bored, you can go there, you can you know rent very nice beautiful apartment, and you know over there there is a staff to take care of you, there's friend you know to that you can hang out, there's like a club that you know you can do the thing that you like, right? So that kind of the vision, and we want to start bringing this awareness to people, so people start to change their attitude.
Sure. Yeah.
The real takeaway is that old age doesn't have to be a time when you're in decline and you're no longer relevant. You've already lived your life, you've raised a family, you've had a career. That doesn't need to end. That is, you can find new passions, you can find new ways of living, and this in itself is going to keep you biologically young and vigorous for a long, long time.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mason. And I think our time is like running out. So we would like to ask our audience, you know, Mark and Robin. If you guys have any special questions for Dr. Mason in today's session?
I've got a quick one.
Sure.
I do quite a lot of work with old people. One of the things which I found to be the most impactful when it comes to longevity. Not an expert like you, Dr. Mason, but one of the things I found to be most impactful is purpose.
Oh, purpose.
And perhaps this comes to what you were saying, John, when it comes to Golden Sunrise. If an old person feels that they have purpose, not just a purpose to get up in the morning, but a thing to do, so a goal to work towards, it changes it from being a matter of a senior kind of existence facility into a real senior living facility where you're doing something with purpose.
Yeah.
And that to me seems to be one of
I agree with you. Living with purpose is, yeah.
That is absolutely the key, and you can build other things around it. The Japanese even have a term called ikigai. It's when you wake up in the morning, what motivates you to wake up in the morning? And what is it that you want to use your life to do? That also has to do with other people, because very few of the things that we want to do that are purposeful and meaningful are strictly all by ourselves.
Yeah. At Golden Sunrise, I think that living with a purpose is really is a really powerful advice. So we do know about a term called manifesting, and scientifically proven. So when you are able to manifest and move yourself forward to the goal that you want to be achieved in the 5 years, at Golden Sunrise, we do have activities to get you a photograph of what you imagine yourself in the next 5 years, how you want to be in the next 5 years. There's a little graph. Maybe for some young people like me, my graph would be a little supercar and a house next to this. But for each people, they have each different mission. That when you are aware of what's your goal, what you want to be in life, what you want to achieve, and you tend to express it by your words and even by pictures and images, that would be more likely to become true. And here we do help programs to help seniors to manifest themselves how they want to become in the next few years. So, and thank you so much for the question, Mr. Rob. That was a wonderful question. Yeah.
Thanks for the reminder about what it takes to live a healthy lifestyle, the common sense things like movement, proper nutrition, sleep. But also you mentioned about community, which I think is that we have control of. What concerns me is a statement you made earlier about pollution. I know it's difficult to protect ourselves from the environment, but in terms of your work and what the clinic is offering, I think you mentioned something about heavy metals being exposed to it. Can you walk us through or repeat the steps that are necessary that your clinic takes that would help us to purge those pollutants from our body?
That is a very good question. Yeah. And again, there's so much that you can do in your lifestyle that promote your health. But the air we breathe in this city or other cities in this country, we can't do much about it. But first, we have a scanner at Regenetics that will identify some of the heavy metals. Beyond that, we can do a blood test that also can point out the heavy metals. And then from there, we can do so-called chelation, where we can give you medications or a biopharmaceutical that will complex and bind those particular elements and help you excrete them. But you're right, that is a real threat to health, and it's one that is hard to do preventively the way things are at the moment.
Well, I think it's necessitated a need for not just ours, but also any communities or senior living with air purifier.
Yes.
It should be equipped to enhance. So that's the thing we can do.
Yeah, that's very important too. Also, for your air conditioning units, be sure to change the filters every month, clean the filters every month.
Yeah, very simple yet effective. Yeah.
Vâng, rất là cảm ơn bác sĩ Mason hôm nay đã chia sẻ với khán giả. Thì mình cũng xin, mình với John cũng xin tóm tắt lại một vài cái điểm chính mà bác sĩ Mason chia sẻ ngày hôm nay. Thì vì cái cuộc nói chuyện này nó cũng hơi kỹ thuật, nên là mình để cho John chia sẻ tóm tắt được một vài điểm. Xin mời John.
Vâng, và với các cái về phương pháp cũng như là phong cách sống mà chúng ta có thể giúp tuổi thọ cũng như là tuổi sinh học của chúng ta trở nên trẻ hơn. Như các bạn đã biết là chúng ta không chỉ có 1 tuổi, chúng ta có 2 tuổi. Tuổi khi mà đến ngày sinh nhật của chúng ta tự động nó sẽ gọi, đó chính là cái tuổi theo ngày. Còn 1 tuổi nữa đó chính là tuổi sinh học. Để làm chậm quá trình lão hóa này, làm thế nào để một người 50 tuổi các bạn một ngày thức dậy và các bạn cảm giác như chúng ta đang trẻ, như chúng ta 30 tuổi vẫn sẵn sàng lao ra ngoài kia và làm những thứ chúng ta yêu thích, chúng ta thật là mong muốn với một cái niềm đam mê luôn luôn cháy bỏng. Thì để làm như vậy thì bên cạnh ăn uống dinh dưỡng, bên cạnh một lối sống với giấc ngủ chất lượng thì chúng ta cũng có những biện pháp lựa chọn có thể thay thế, gọi là y học tái tạo. Và đây là những cái phương pháp mà sử dụng chính những cái tế bào nó là của cơ thể của chúng ta. Tuy nhiên khi chúng ta đến một độ tuổi lão hóa thì cái tế bào này sẽ suy giảm chức năng, và để tăng cái số lượng của tế bào mà có chức năng tự sản sinh cũng như là tự chữa lành những cái vết thương trong cơ thể của chúng ta thì chúng ta có thể cân nhắc đến các biện pháp như là bác sĩ Mason có chia sẻ, đó chính là NAD+, đó chính là stem cells, hay gọi là tế bào gốc. Và điều này không chỉ có tác dụng với làn da của chúng ta, giúp chúng ta trẻ hóa bên ngoài, mà còn giúp chúng ta có một cơ thể khỏe mạnh và tự có khả năng miễn nhiễm với lại các cái yếu tố độc hại bên ngoài, từ bên trong, từ các tế bào về gan, về phổi. Và điều này thì đã được khoa học chứng minh một cách rất là tin cậy. Thế nhưng mà để mà chúng ta có được một liệu pháp lộ trình phù hợp thì hãy tìm đến những cơ sở uy tín như là Regenetics, nơi mà bác Mason đang có những cái tư vấn cũng như là công tác, thì chúng ta sẽ tìm được một cái liệu pháp và thực sự có hiệu quả cũng như là xứng đáng với lại cái giá trị kinh tế mình đã bỏ ra. Ngoài ra thì một yếu tố nữa đó chính là Golden Sunrise của chúng tôi cũng sắp được hình thành, thì chúng tôi cũng rất là mong muốn được sự đón nhận, mà đây không chỉ là đón nhận về chăm sóc về y tế mà chúng ta luôn chào đón và mở rộng cánh tay, vì ở đây chúng tôi có một cộng đồng, chúng tôi có một cộng đồng những người sống với đam mê, sống với mục đích như anh Robin đã chia sẻ, và rất là cảm ơn anh vì cái chia sẻ rất là hữu ích. Khi mà một người nào đó chúng ta sống với một mục tiêu, với một mục đích rõ ràng thì chắc chắn là mỗi một ngày ta mở mắt ra thì cái ngày hôm đó của chúng ta, có nhiều người hỏi bạn muốn sống bao nhiêu tuổi? Thực ra câu trả lời đó tôi nghĩ không phải là bạn muốn sống bao nhiêu tuổi, mà tôi nghĩ bạn làm gì xã hội, và bạn hãy sống ngày hôm nay chính như là ngày cuối cùng của bạn, và bạn hãy làm hết mình với ngày hôm nay của bạn. Vâng, một lần nữa Hoàng John rất là vui vì được chị Orchid mời đến show ngày hôm nay, và cảm ơn chị rất là nhiều. Cảm ơn Dr. Mason. Thank you very much, Dr. Mason.
Thank you.
Vâng, Như Lan rất là cảm ơn tất cả mọi người, và hôm nay Dr. Mason có chia sẻ, Như Lan cũng học hỏi được rất là nhiều. Thì đó, cũng như là bác sĩ Mason cũng nói về việc trí tuệ nhân tạo, thì là trí tuệ nhân tạo bây giờ nó cũng là rất là mới, thì những cái test bây giờ thì nó cũng vẫn là rất là sớm, thì nhiều khi mình một cái database này thì lúc cái test này nó sẽ cho cái kết quả này, và về sau thì nó lại cho một cái kết quả khác. Thì nói chung là AI, Dr. Mason chia sẻ AI nó cũng chưa hẳn là thay thế được con người, nhưng mà nó sẽ giúp cho mọi thứ trở nên nhanh hơn. Thì bây giờ mình cũng rất là chào đón cái đó, và Dr. Mason cũng muốn mở rộng cái awareness là nhận thức của người Việt Nam, là người Việt Nam thường là sống chung với con cái và nhiều khi ở nhà rất là buồn. Thì bây giờ mình hãy adapt, tức là mình mở adapt, tiếng Việt Nam là gì ta? Không,
nghĩa là mình sẽ
mở rộng ra đi.
Mình sẽ mở lòng mình ra.
Mình mở lòng ra để mình suy nghĩ là những cái mới mà nước ngoài họ sẽ mang về cho mình, như là mở những viện dưỡng lão, mà đây là gọi là viện dưỡng lão thôi, nhưng mà thực ra đây là một cái gọi là gần như là một cái khu apartment, nhưng mà những người đến đó là cũng cùng một độ tuổi. chứ cũng không hẳn, đúng không John? Tức là nhiều khi mình cũng không hẳn là một vị dưỡng lão thì nghe nó hơi già, nhưng mà thực ra đó là một cái khu mà những người đến đó là coi như họ đến một cái tuổi nào đó 55 hoặc là trên 55 thì họ sẽ có một cái cộng đồng, thì ở quanh đó họ sẽ có bạn bè, họ sẽ có cùng sở thích, họ sẽ có nhiều những cái kết nối hơn và họ sẽ làm được những cái họ thích, họ có cộng đồng, thì cái đó là rất là tốt cho tuổi già, không có phải là chỉ giúp cho bản thân họ mà cũng là giúp cho con cái của họ cũng cảm thấy an tâm hơn khi mà cha mẹ mình đã sống ở trong một cái chỗ mà cũng rất là tốt và họ có cái cộng đồng riêng của họ. Đó, thì hiện tại cái senior care nó, như Lan đang hiểu, nó là như vậy đúng không John? Tức là không phải là cho người già là vô đó là chờ chết, mà vô đó giống như là mình những cái building hoặc là những cái nó như là một cái cơ sở hạ tầng để mà cùng giúp những cái người mà trên một cái độ tuổi nào đó để đến đó.
Vâng, rất cảm ơn chia sẻ của chị Như Lan.
Ok.
Yeah.
Vâng, cảm ơn mọi người. Thank you.
Thank you and see you again.
Bye bye.
Đến lúc nhận ra bao lần em phải số cảm xúc tận cùng, bao lần em chỉ nói ra hết thành câu, chờ thêm bao lâu để mình chạm tay nhau. Dance with the night, I made up my mind. If you're by my side, everything will be right, 'cause you're gonna be the one all this time. If you are the moon, then I'll be your star. We've come this far, don't let us be apart, 'cause I wanna make it right to light up your sky, để trái tim được thốt lên thành lời.